What was your reaction when you first read the script for Terrifier 3?
My jaw was on the floor.
How much blood was used in your infamous shower scene if you had to take a guess?
Enough to give me a double ear infection. All those little girls and boys out there who have a diagnosis, they know that it can never define them.
Welcome to the Real Appreciation Podcast. I'm David Clair-Bennett, and with me today is more than just a name or face you know from Terrifier 3. She's an incredibly talented actress, a former Knicks City dancer, a true inspiration to me, and I'm sure soon to be many more listening to or watching today's episode. Joining me now on Real Appreciation is Alexa Blair Robertson. Alexa, thank you so much for being here today.
Of course. Thank you for having me. And what a great intro. I'm ready. I'm hyped up. I'm ready for this.
Yes, it's all about that charisma. That's what they say. I'm an actor too, so that's what it's all about, right, Alexa?
For sure. Fake it till you make it all the time.
I am so glad to see that you've made a full recovery from the last time I saw you, which was on the big screen alongside my girlfriend getting ripped to shreds by a certain lunatic clown, which, by the way, fun fact, after this interview is done with you, I can now officially say I've had all three people from the Terrifier 3 shower scene on the Real Appreciation Podcast.
That is quite the feat. That should definitely be on your resume. That's huge.
Well, it's on my resume of trying to get Damien to come on and do the show.
Oh my God, I'm gonna guilt him into it. I'll send him a text.
Hey, he said once he would do it, but then I've never been able to get in contact ever again. So Alexa, please help me out.
I got you.
So what was your reaction when you first read the script for Terrifier 3?
My jaw was on the floor. I was like, okay, and how exactly is this gonna be made into a real life thing? It was so fantastical and out there. I was engaged from, scene one, Damien has that gift of just pushing the bar further and further each time. So I was thoroughly impressed. I was a little bit, anxious, like, how is this going to happen? But ultimately, I was just hyped up to be a part of such, a groundbreaking project. I was ready to go. I was ready for the challenge.
How much blood was used in your infamous shower scene if you had to take a guess?
Enough to give me a double ear infection. It was a lot. It was a lot because, the tedious part with working with blood and special effects in general is that anytime you reset, you completely wipe down the slate, you start over, the blood gets taken out just to get added back again, and usually in somewhere of a surplus. So we used, I don't even want to know how much blood we used, but it looked pretty epic in my opinion. So I would say it was entirely worth every ear infection and every dollar spent on blood.
Hey, coming from somebody who's had his own throat slit in a horror movie, it's a lot. So I applaud you for what you have to go through.
I'm gonna say you've been there. It's a special experience. I really feel like nothing can faze me now. I actually was helping a friend in a short film over the past weekend, and he was giving me this whole hype up session, being like, "Look, there's gonna be blood on your face," and I was like, after Damien, I'm ready for anything, truly.
For real though, shout out to all the special effects makeup artists out there. They are uncredited enough, and they are so freaking great.
Seriously, spectacular. And there's just, everyone has their own methodology, and working with Tinsley Studios and just all of their incredible artists, I was blown away seeing the final product. They deserve endless praise, and they were also just awesome to work with. So huge fan over here.
Well, in Terrifier 3, you played the character Mia, and you had this desire to one day look directly into Art the Clown's eyes. And listen, I've done that. Not a fun sight to see, right? Ultimately, you got to make that dream come true in the film. So tell me, Alexa, how was it to look into those beautiful demonic eyes?
I think the sunglasses were really the cherry on top there. That's, I think that is a really epic detail, actually, if we were going to dive into that, how she only really gets to see into his actual eyes whenever she is at the final end stage of the death scene. And then he's like, now you get the shades. I think that was just so creative and funny on Damien's end. And from an acting perspective, that entire chainsaw sequence, it definitely felt visceral in the moment. And while I wasn't necessarily staring into Art's eyes the whole time, just the entire experience, it brought something almost animalistic out of me. When you have that noise and the sight and the smell of the blood and everything, it takes you to this other place. And as an actress, I felt super just brought to the plane that I wanted to be in for my performance. So I would say that it was amazing. And also not only working with David, but also his body double and things like that. So it was a town effort. It was awesome.
It sounds awesome. But hey, I appreciate you letting us talk about Terrifier and how exciting that was for you, obviously. but I also enjoy talking on the show about other topics such as ranging from resiliency, the art, no pun intended, of being vulnerable, and sharing real and inspiring stories that can help at least one person out there who might be going through some shit right now, who can potentially even find their own story through yours, through mine, with any of the guests.
Love that.
Thank you. Your journey has been so inspiring, to say the least, and something people may not know about you is how you once defied all the odds. When you were diagnosed with a rare kidney cancer and given an 11% chance of survival at the age of just 4 years old. And here you are today, accomplishing so freaking much. Did you ever think your story would lead you to where you are today?
My experience as a child is something that is just a part of me, and every single accomplishment that comes with my life, I also bring that story of perseverance and survival. And so any platform that I am able to secure through my artistic endeavors is just an opportunity to spread the word and to offer inspiration to others through my story. So it is something that I'll never leave behind, and I bear my scars proudly. That was something that I was actually most excited for with this role. Obviously, we're showing some skin, and so when Damien was like, "Oh my God, I don't care at all that you have scars," I think that's so cool. For me, that's exactly what I'm looking for when I'm looking for a team to work for, and that's a part of my story and my background with my cancer survival. So bringing that to the big screen, even for myself, it was a huge win, and that was something that it's definitely a fear when you're heading into an aesthetics-based career, and to be accepted full-heartedly and be able to share my story in that way. I feel like for all of those little girls and boys out there who have a diagnosis, they know that it can never define them, So
Wow. That's the real shit I like to see. I like to see Alexa, the actress behind just the face they know from Terrifier or the Knicks City dancer. I want to see Alexa, the human being, and I think everyone else can see themselves in that too, regardless of their profession. And I think that's beautiful what you bring to the table here.
thank you, thank you. I'm very proud of my background, and it's definitely kind of a guiding force in everything that I do, and always making sure I give 110% because every day is not promised. So
Absolutely. And to see this, for lack of a better term, second chance on life you've been gifted. How has your experience influenced either your goals, your dreams, or even just simply the way that you live your life every day?
I would definitely say I live unapologetically. And for example, just being out there, whether it was dancing at MSG wearing a crop top or being in Terrifier 3 and bringing my scars and my story with me there, I think it's really important, not only from a body positivity perspective, but also just in a confidence in my womanhood and my story. And that for me, those are priceless opportunities to not only share my story, but like I said, offer any inspiration to any young girls out there with any kind of scar or any kind of insecurity that they carry with them. And for me, especially with my cancer happening so early on in my life, that I have always carried I call them tattoos with better stories, my scars with me and everything that I've done. And whether it was, dancing and looking a little bit different, I never let it get to me. I still try to let my light shine. And I think that that's a true testament to perseverance and also just self-belief and understanding that you never need to be like anybody else and that you are perfectly, wonderfully made. And anything from your past is actually something that just makes you more unique and more beautiful and just a special part of your story.
Tattoos with better stories. I love that.
Yes, absolutely. My mom actually saw that on a t-shirt when I was like 7 years old. And when you're 7 and you're going into like a dance room and everyone's like, "Oh, what did you get bit by a shark?" Everyone's like asking questions about your scars. And so I remember I wore that little t-shirt around proudly, and that one stuck with me. I like that.
Life is so beautiful, right?
It really is. And honestly, doing things like this and speaking with people like yourself and getting a chance to kind of reflect on that, it brings joy to my heart, and it just reminds me of just how far I've come. And it can, it's good to feel self-pride and to be proud of where you've been.
Well, from stranger to stranger, I'm incredibly proud of you. And even at one, and let's talk about some more exciting things. Like at one point in your life, you got to dance with Janet Jackson. How amazing is that to say you got to do something both you love and are so passionate about next to one of music's most iconic family members ever?
I mean, for that to be my first professional dance job, I mean, no wonder I'm hooked and forever chasing that feeling. Being up there dancing literally 3 feet away from Janet and staring out into the faces of all those people who were jamming along with us. It was this almost out of body experience where I felt just completely aligned with my purpose, both physically and emotionally. And that feeling is kind of what keeps me going, and being able to be present in moments like that and recognize that you are doing exactly not only what you want to do, but what you were put here on earth to do. It's just so special. And so I definitely think about that moment all the time, and that is a feeling that I'm always chasing. So that was pretty epic.
I'm so glad that we're taking this time, Alexa, to sit here and not just talk about your next movie or TV show coming out. We're here to talk about you, the human being.
And it's important to nurture that, especially in your career. It's easy to get lost in like in the resume of it all and the chase of it all. So revisiting your roots and figuring out, what matters most internally is super important, and staying true to that in the industry is sometimes difficult, but I think it's imperative.
Something I'm so big on is self-reflection. So let's go ahead together and reflect and take a look back at all these amazing accomplishments you've gotten to achieve. You are a walking miracle and an inspiration to millions. You were a Knicks City dancer. You got to dance alongside Janet Jackson. And you had obviously such an amazing performance in one of the most famous horror franchises ever. But to me, the most important accomplishment is you being here today, sharing these inspiring, incredible stories and experiences with everyone here. So I just want to applaud you for everything you've accomplished so far. Not a question, just really important for me to get that off my chest and tell people the accomplishments as a stranger sees them.
I really appreciate you and the positivity, even though we're just communicating through a screen, it's really palpable. And there's not many people out there when you're an adult, like, doing that every step of the way, cheering you on. So I really appreciate you saying that and encouraging me to do the same and to, be my own biggest cheerleader.
Yes, pun intended. Well, at the end of every episode here, something I like to do is focus on both gratitude as well as appreciation. And how I like to do that is by asking my guests something that they're grateful for in their life. Because every day when I wake up and before I go to bed, I say out loud 3 things that I'm grateful for. And Alexa, I want to ask you before we get out of here, what are the 3 things you are grateful for in your life right now?
First of all, that's an incredible practice. And my mom tells me to do that like every day. I need to start adding that in.
It helps. It does help.
I would say first and foremost, I am grateful for my health. I'm grateful to be in control of my health and have the opportunity and access to healthcare. I am grateful to be surrounded by people who love and support me, my friends and family. They are everything to me. And as the older I get, the more I realize how blessed I am to be surrounded by supportive individuals. And third, I would say that I am grateful to be passionate and to have a passion that is so overflowing that I can't help but pursue it every day that I wake up, whether I'm dancing, acting, or just seeking a new performance opportunity. I'm grateful for the passion, even if it's difficult sometimes.
Well, you have the passion, or I'm sorry, Alexa, I have to throw the pun in here. You have the art.
I like it.
Hey, how can people find you online?
You can follow my journey on Instagram at _Alexa Blair, and not really sure if TikTok's going to be around anymore, but if it is, Alexa Blair Rob on there.
Well, I'll make sure I follow you on both.
Perfect. We'll be connected. I
Awesome.
really appreciate it. This was such a fun little chat.
Yes, it was so amazing. And before we get out, I just want to, again, I'm sorry I say thank you all the time, but I think it's so important to always remind people of their accomplishments, because sometimes, I'm sure you'll understand what I'm saying here, everyone listening probably does, sometimes it's so easy to get in our heads, and I hate it.
Totally. Especially, early 20s. 20s are a strange space to be in. And it's important to look back and all the things you're proud of, but also all of the hopeful things to come. And I feel like that's exactly what we just did. So I appreciate you.
Alexa Blair Robertson, it's been an honor to sit here and get real with you on the show. Thank you so much for agreeing to be both authentic and genuine with me here today. I appreciate you so very much.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. This was a blast.
Please subscribe to the channel, like and share this episode, or binge watch other episodes on the channel, including with David Howard Thornton, Mason Mecartea. I've got everybody now in the Terrifier 3 shower scene. Damien Leone, you gotta get your ass on here. I'm trying so hard.
Damien on his way.
Hope so.